Now to West Africa, it was a day few Liberians will never forget. Former international football star George Weah sworn in as the President of Liberia. There were scenes of joy and optimism among the crowds at Samuel Canyon Door Stadium near the capital of Monrovia as the country marked the first peaceful democratic transition since 1944. Weah began his presidency with a rousing call to all Liberians, promising to do more than his share to advance the country. Weah also used his inaugural speech to praise Liberia's strong ties with countries like the United States and China. He stressed the importance of the two world powers in helping Liberia reach its full potential. Weah takes over from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who spent 12 years steering the West African nation away from the trauma of civil war. Now, for more perspective on President Weah, I'm joined by Bodger Johnson. He's the vice chairman for the Liberty Party of Liberia, the USA East Coast chapter. Mr. Johnson, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Vincent.
We have to begin with the fact that many people look at George Weah and say, this guy has no experience. He's never been known to run any governmental institution or any business. What do you tell them?
I want to say thanks for having me on your program, Vincent. Today is indeed a great day in Liberia. We are all proud, we are all excited to be a Liberian. And I think Mr. Weah brings to this country a skill of leadership. Being a football player transforming to a president is indeed a new day in Africa. And I think if he surrounds himself with the caliber of people, I think he can make a huge difference. He may not have the experience, but I think he has the willpower to change Liberia for the better.
Mm-hmm. Now, he has the willpower, but let's spell out first, what are some of the challenges he may have to deal with immediately?
The first thing Mr. Weah have to do with the idea of creating jobs. We have a huge young population of young people. Mr. Weah will have to manage their expectations. Mr. Weah will have to create jobs for those people. Because we have a population of between the age of 22 to 30 years old. About 60% of them are young people that voted Mr. Weah into office. So their expectation in terms of jobs, in terms of building schools, building hospital infrastructure to improve their lives so they can have a better life. They have high hopes.
Now, the outgoing President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf came in with experience, with education, and she says she's done quite a lot for Liberia. What is it in your assessment that she failed to do in 12 years that George Weah can do differently?
I think the difference between the two leadership, Mr. Sirleaf have the education, she have the experience. But I think what she was lacking is in terms of being able to deliver to Liberian people. The people felt that they were left out. The people felt that they wasn't included in whatever leadership Mr. Sirleaf had. After 12 years, they realized that their life would stay the same. They realized that the state didn't have potable drinking water, they didn't have better healthcare system, they didn't have better schools. And that's the reason why they voted Mr. Weah. The young people felt that we need somebody that look like us, that think like us, that will maybe become inclusive to have been part of the process.
Yeah, if you were to give some advice to President Weah, we know that many of them come in with a lot of enthusiasm, with amazing promises, right. But it looks like the system transforms them, it changes them, or perhaps they realize they just cannot accomplish what they promised. What is it that he could do to be different, to be not a disappointment like many other presidents have become?
One thing Mr. Weah said within his speech, he said he will fight corruption. Liberia is open for business. He's going to go ahead on corrupt officials. He's going to bring in transparency in government.
But that's what they all say. And then they come in and realize that some of these things have become institutionalized. Some of them is because of loopholes in the laws of the land, in the Constitution. How do you become different? If you ask Ellen Johnson, she'll tell you she's fighting corruption.
I think that's a very good question. But I think Mr. Weah have said in his remarks and speech that In his leadership, he's going to make sure Liberia is very transparent. He's going to bring in investors. He's going to encourage young people to go back to school. He's going to fight corruption. So we have to be very optimistic. That means that Weah will come to power and he will do what he said he would do. We are not going to criticize him. We're going to catalog his mistakes. We're going to see how we're going to work with him to make Liberia a better country.
Yeah. In terms of the Constitution of Liberia, what is there any part of that you think, if you have the means, if you could personally, would advise that it's changed to make it easier to run the country in a more effective way?
I think the most important thing that needs to change is just the tenure of the presidency. Yeah. From 6 years, you should make it 4 years, so that you have the time frame of 8 years in leadership. The next person can come and have the smooth transition of power to make our country a better place. But in all sincerity, I think Mr. Weah have the backing of both the Senate and the House. He remembers now the Speaker of the House is from his party, CDC. So we are hoping that they all can work together to move his agenda forward. His agenda on building the country, building roads, building schools, and improving the infrastructure of our country.
I've asked before this question. Some say the Vice President, of course, also connected to the former leader of Liberia. What do you think? Does that kind of create a cloud around the presidency?
I think I don't think
Charles Taylor's shadow behind there.
I understand that's a major factor in international circles as it relates to Joel Taylor Howard being Mr. Weah vice president. But I think she's the ex-wife of Mr. Taylor. She's an individual. She has her own personality, and they have to merge with Mr. Taylor party so they can have the victory they have.
Yes.
But I don't think it's a major problem.
Well, and we'll continue watching to see what happens. We appreciate your perspectives, Mr. Johnson.
Okay.
Yes.